school games, which actually gave us a lot of drama, and we are seeing a lot of changes. Right now, schools are going to court to petition to be allowed to compete in these games, and even education, Jogo House actually had to comment on this. But be that as it may, we are still seeing a lot of age cheating, fielding of ineligible players. This is a cancer that has been there for so long is here. How do we deal with this?
Maybe we have been very soft to Swila, and I think...
You mean the fourth estate?
Yes, soft, and also generally Kenyans, I think it's how we view sports. Maybe our respected teachers need to be handled by differently. The reason I say this, Swila, is I've been following keenly the events that have been taking place, especially in Western, where we have a rich talent, pool of talents, you know, when it comes to football. And it is so saddening that in that region, there are teachers who insist that you have to get a person who is over 20 years, some more than 23 years, to come and play for you just to win a title. Yesterday, we were excited as we retired about the news of Aldrin Kibet, the sensational under-20 player who has now reportedly signed for Celta Vigo in Spain. Straight from high school to Spain. That is the value of appreciating age. Because if you have a player who is over 20 years and you're insisting that they continue playing the school games so to win a title, you water down every good intention. You know, you spoil every good intention of the school games. That's number one. Number two, the spirit of CBC actually means that now sport is classroom extended from the class to the field. You understand? Meaning that the kind of seriousness that we see when it comes to, you know, supervising exams to avoid any manner of cheating should be the same replicated when it comes to how we handle these kids, when it comes to football and every other sport. So it is heartbreaking to see that teachers have continued the same old narrative of saying that we are going to win by hook or crook. Now, finally, there's something I say. If there's no consequence, a painful consequence of a perpetual sin, let me call it a sin, then there is a probability of people continuing. Why do we see the same schools, year in, year out, repeating the same thing? It tells you it's because they are asking Mtadu. I invite, like you said, the Ministry of Sports and the Ministry of Education, because we cannot be saying this is a yearly program that is so serious, money is invested, and we just look at it, things to continue the way they're happening. There needs to be a proper discussion. Why do we allow these things to happen all the time? Then finally, the challenge would be this. You see, we have been blaming our national leaders all the time, saying that we are corrupt, they are not getting it right. But what do you expect, Swila, when you have a student who has been taught from one that shortcuts are the way to, you make it through shortcuts, that students have been preparing in school towards the games? A person is brought from somewhere, he has not been part of you. So the students know, we'll see where to who you, plays with them, after that anatoka anaenda. You're going to win it, but you're telling them, in life to make it, you have to use these shortcuts. And I think it's a very bad culture. It is in schools where we start instilling discipline and, you know, that the best attitude that people are going to even show when they come out here. So it's almost a catastrophe. What I'm actually now worried about is that now, because we had the cases of Musingu, of course, and Kakamega, we had the case of Jobo in Trans Nzoia, and you see, you hear that a school has appealed that player A or B are not eligible. The jury says, yes, we agree. The other person appeals, and instead of that school being expelled, the result is replay that match without those players. So it means if you have won from the preliminaries with those players as part of your group, it means that all those wins are invalid. The standard practice in the beautiful game, even up there, is that when you are found with such irregularities, you are expelled. But now you see we are changing the goalposts, and at the end of the day, we end up with very questionable, teams going to the nationals. At the end of the day, we are losing the meaning of these games. Otherwise, The other time tutapata Zita akichezea Tigo.
Actually, it's more of the games are being won in the courtrooms than in the field. That is what is happening now, because I remember before the rules of a 3-month, whereby the transfer window of a high school in Akwaga, one term you have to be in this team so that you can play for the team. So it's becoming more of it's the excitement about the high school games now. It's coming. I love the way I can see even people coming up and watching these kids play. But again, if we continue with what is happening, there's a lot of fracas that people are not talking about. Kumekuwa na fracas zenye watu wanaingia kwa grao nini. They've been happening there. But again, we need to go back to the school games we used to have. The school games of maybe last year, the other 2 years or 3 years back that we used to have. Let us not go. Everything we have to go to. Kama umepigwa, go home and restructure and come back. And the age cheating. Sasa mtake watoto wa shule watacheza wapi if you guys from home when you umekaa on your seat unaambia kuja ucheze game and you just allow yourself to be used to come and play all these the secondary games. So for me, I think there's a lot of rules that need to be changed to straighten up things before every time, even next year, we will see all these cases coming up. Not even next year, even now we've finished the counties and regionals, now we're going into the nationals. We will see all these happening here.
I have a solution. Firstly, I want to associate myself with the sentiments of the two. Now, schools are competing in a lot of things, not only sports. There's Science Congress. We also have extracurricular activities like drama, creative economies.
Yes.
We did not hear cases of Butere girls bringing in overage participants. It's only in sports. And in sports, it's certain sports. And in these certain sports, it is in certain regions. It is not all over. In Northeastern, we did not hear about age cheating. In Eastern Province, we never heard about age cheating. It is only in particular regions. And this is aided and abetted by teachers. Sula, at some point, I sat in these age-capped tournaments. And you could hear somebody appealed for the reason that an opponent's nickname was Omwami. There in Kakamega. You know what Omwami needs? Omwami means an elder. So because an opponent is tall and stoic, heavily built, the other participants went to appeal just because he's called Omwami and saying, no. This Omwami means, it means he's an old man.
And of course...
So I have a solution to this. So we have vexatious litigants in certain areas, and Kakamega is one of the leading areas where parties are always appealing. Now, this is the solution, because for the interest of time, what happens? Some of these so-called juries or teachers do not have the necessary requisite qualifications to handle some of these disputes. What I'm suggesting, because we have a sports dispute tribunal, like what happens in Olympics, the Court of Arbitration of Sports normally constitutes ad hoc courts where we have either one jury, two juries, or three jurists, and they make decisions within hours. So if we could dispatch the sports dispute tribunal, because it has almost 9 members, it is a solution. It will save participants from some of these decisions.
That thought, we cross over to Kevin Otenga at the RMS Sports Center here in Nairobi. Of course, Kevin Otenga has been following every detail of the school games. Kevin Otenga, a very good morning to you. If you can hear me, you followed the discussion here. Matters age cheating, matters fielding players who are not ineligible. Maybe first things first, what do you make of the competition, the county school games that went down last week and over the weekend?
Thank you so much, Swila. There has been an intense competition because we've seen former champions or reigning champions being ousted, like we saw in Nyanza region, Nyakach girls being defeated, and there are new reigning girls champions in Kobala girls, and we've seen in other regions also champions have been ousted. In Rift Valley, for example, we see new champions in girls football. We have Nasokol girls, and we're just seeing new champions cropping up. And coming to the Western region, we've seen Musingu Boys High School defend their regional football title. We've seen Butere girls defend their regional girls title. And speaking of Butere girls, it is a team that has shown that over time, patience pays and also honesty pays, because I'm rooting for Butere girls to do better, even better this year, because last year they won the national title, they went to East Africa, they finished as runners-up, and I'm rooting for them even this year to defend the national and East African title, because we've seen the girls from that school even represent the junior starlets or the national or the girls, the Kenyan team under 17, and we've seen the talents that churn out from that school. Madira girls, who finished as runners-up in Western Region, they're also doing well. They've just recently been promoted to play the top-tier league in the league, that is KWPL, and we've seen they finished as runners-up behind Butere girls, and a lot of talent also in that area. Rugby is a sport that is also changing. New champions in Western Region, we have St. Peter's. Last year, we had the likes of Koyonzo dominating the likes of Vihiga, who won the East African title. But we've seen the competition has been intense. Schools are really realigning to make sure that they span out that dominance in different regions. Eastern region, we've seen Moi Mbuiruri take the football title after 30 years. So it just shows you the kind of competition we have in these school games. When you look at volleyball, for example, we've seen...
If you can hear me, probably, really quick on this.
Yes.
You follow the discussion, and the elephant in the room is age cheating, fielding players who are probably not school students. This was rampant in Western Kenya and other parts of the country. Probably from where you sit, what's the driving force behind this?
The driving force is just greed to dominate and also to make a name out here, because what is spanning out is, especially among the male teams, that is where the problem is. And I keep on saying this: if we treat things normally, things shall treat us abnormally, because it is beating the main purpose of nurturing the talent. And we've now seen greed cropping up in school games, people trying to use a shortcut, which is not really good, because when you use players who are above age, you are giving those players, young players, you are denying them a chance to show their talent. And you've seen what talent can do. For a player like Eldrin Kibet, if he was denied a chance to play because just someone else propped up, because he was a star and he was over age, we couldn't have seen talents like Amos Wanjala, Eldrin Kibet. So it really beats the purpose of nurturing the talent. And we've seen greed is popping up in school games. Principals want to make a name, coaches want to make a name and be popular out here just because of school games.
And finally, Otenga, from county games, we are heading to the regional showpiece in Eldoret. And of course, after the regional, it will head to the national extravaganza. From where you sit, probably, whom do you tip as the favorites in Eldoret, maybe from Western region? If you can nose it down to Western region, who are your favorites and why?
All right, sorry, we are moving from the regional to the nationals, rather, which will be taking place in a fortnight. And Western region being the powerhouses of rugby, I expect a rugby champion to come out from that area. St. Peter's boys Mumias are doing something different this year, and they have shown the capability that they can go all the way to the national. In football, Nairobi Champion Highway, they are there challenging for the title, defending for the title, but I know Musingu will not give them an easy ride. In Rift Valley, we have St. Joseph's boys, Kitale, who are also doing well, and I know their principal, Cosmas Nabungolo, is also putting up a great fight. So it's gonna not be an easy ride in football this year, because we have 3 strong contenders in Musingu, St. Joseph's boys, Kitale, and also Highway Secondary School. When we come to the girls' crown, the usual suspects, Butere girls, are the favorites to retain their title. And when you come to a sport like volleyball girls, we have the likes of Kwandanze, the likes of Kesogon girls are the front runners also to lift that crown. When you come to the boys volleyball, former champions, we have Cheptil. Western region champions Namuela were ousted, and we have new champions in Malava boys. So it shows the competition is it is getting intense, and we're gonna see even new champions this year at the national stage.
Absolutely. That's our very own Kevin Otenga, our lead reporter on Matter School Games. You can, of course, catch him on VUCA FM and also follow his write-up on citizen.digital. That's the leading news site in Kenya. Thank you very much, Kevin Otenga. Pleasure talking to you. And from the RMS Sports Center, we cross over to our offices in Mombasa, where Mark Mutuku is on standby, ready to come in on Matters Harambee Stars. Mark, good morning from the coastal city of Mombasa. You follow the discussion here on Matters Harambee Stars, and of course, Bandari for the very first time, I would say, have dominated the call-up or the list of coach Benny McCarthy. You follow Bandari very, very closely.